Alright, so how many times a day do you ever overthink something where you hesitate and then it passes by and then you just wish that you've done it? Like, and then think about it throughout the whole day, sometimes even the next day. So I got a quote, it says, "A pessimist is a man who looks both ways before crossing a one-way street," by Peter. So for the most part, I think this is a bad thing, because a lot of times you miss opportunities that you just want to take because you're so hesitant to do it or to take it, and then not taking that opportunity could lead to it leads to less opportunities. So I think more opportunities are a better thing, because it opens you up to like a whole or so much more opportunities. So yeah, being cautious is also good, because if the more things you expose yourself to, the more bad things happen also. So I think it just depends what you like, how you take that situation. Okay, so I think yeah, this quote could work with I think both people. I think there's two personalities. One that goes for things like at the moment, and the other one that just kind of overthinks it, holds himself back. And I think this quote, okay, in conclusion, I think overall in life, you should jump to take opportunities instead of holding yourself back. Because personally, I would rather experience an opportunity that I haven't experienced before, other than me kind of holding back and wondering what that experience would feel like. So, thank you.
All right, the rhetorical question's okay, but your idea behind it seems a little bit vague. I think you've got a good interpretation of the quote that you're going to be working on, but then you don't really know where you're going from there. You don't set up a structure. It's not clear what the points that you're going to be talking about are supposed to illustrate on this quote. And I think that even though you've got a good thesis, you don't really follow through with strong content. It always stays very abstract, very vague, and that's the thing that's hardest to talk about, because you end up repeating a bunch of platitude sort of statements without illustrating it, without telling a story, without making it interesting and relatable to the audience. And people just aren't going to remember those platitude sorts of statements. Even though they might sound profound when you're saying them, they don't mean anything without a context. And so I think you need to give it a little bit more context. You're easy to hear. There's pretty good variety in your voice at the beginning. Sometimes there's some hesitancies. Your gestures early on, I thought you were pretty solid, but as you went on in the speech, there were some nervous gestures that you started getting into, you know, scratching your knee, rubbing your nose, that sort of stuff. That just seems like I'm not sure what to do with my hands instead of being engaged with the speech. You got distracted. And it was kind of funny because, you know, I was watching you engage the audience for the most part, and every time you looked over at me, you seemed to freak out a little bit, you know. So you got this weird, your face sort of went blank, and it was like, okay, time to change the subject because he's looking at me. And I'm not sure if I was doing something that was bugging you, or you just, that was the point at which you registered, you know, change the slide and move on to the next expression. Your eye contact is a little bit inconsistent as a consequence also. Those would be the things that I think indicated some anxiety. The conclusion of the speech, I think at this point you've forgotten what it was that you were trying to say, and everything again is so abstract that it's hard to even come back to what the original point was. And I think that's a much more graceful conclusion if you can remind us at least of the point that you were trying to make, and I think that that would be the stronger way to finish. All right, thank you. Let me remind everybody on Thursday,